Well, my name is Sofia Castro. I am Bobby Castro's wife. I know a lot of you follow Bobby. I'm just new into social media. I'm here to tell you guys a little bit of our story. I know a bunch of you probably heard it yesterday, but I'm gonna give you a little bit of insight of how we started. I'm a high school dropout. Also, Bobby is too. We didn't know that at the time that we met. We met when we were 18 and 22 years old. So we were just young kids. We come from a very humble beginning. None of us had any kind of entrepreneurship nor role model in our families. But when I met Bobby, he was already like determined that he was going to be an entrepreneur. And when we started dating, he's like, if you're going to come and be, beside me, we're going to take this journey that's not going to be the normal one. So I had no clue what an entrepreneur was at that time. So I'm like, okay, whatever, let's go do this. So we went ahead and started a journey of trying to open businesses, having no cash, having no mentor, and not really knowing the business world itself. But we went ahead and tried a bunch of businesses and we failed. But the good thing about those failures was that we took it and we learned from them. And we tried not to do the big mistakes over and over again. You always do small mistakes and you're always learning. So those small mistakes are okay. But when you do big mistakes and you continue doing them, that's when you never can go and be successful and move on to a different level of success in your life. Very young on, Bobby and me had got pregnant by mistake. I was only 19 years old when we had our daughter, which Priscilla is here today. So we knew that right away we needed to get serious and be, not just sit down and settle for whatever we could get. So we were immediately on focus mode and perseverance mode. We were like, we're gonna get this done. We're not gonna be living not on paycheck to paycheck and having somebody be our boss. We were determined at that point that we were going to be our own bosses. So we always wanted to get into real estate, but we didn't have the cash to get into real estate. And I know a lot of people talk about, oh, you could get into real estate with $0 and finance it, or, also get somebody else to give you the money and invest their money and you're just the one working it. We never knew really that concept. We just started really working and trying to save our money. And we came across a business that was going to be able to give us that source of income for us to be able to stack and rack. And I'm sure if you guys follow Bobby, you know what stack and rack is saving all that money so that then you could rack it into investments. And we were able to do that by a company that my mother lent us for $1,800. That's all we had to our name. And we were able to get that business that we bought a manual for, which is, we didn't really know much about the business, but we knew that that was going to be our vehicle in order to be successful. So we took that business from $0 in 1995 and sold it in 2019 for a $1 billion evaluation. We really worked hard for that evaluation. So in 2010, we were ready to start investing. Foreclosures were at the highest rates. Properties were selling for $20,000, $30,000 per door, which is super cheap. And we started creating a portfolio of single family homes, because at this time we decided that we were just going to be starting in slow. We were going to learn the process of how to get into the rental industry. At that point, we started investing in multifamily, started very little, started learning what management was all about. We were doing extremely well with cash flow and building a portfolio that was growing in monthly cash flow to us. Every month we were able to raise rents. If a lease would expired, we would be able to raise those rents. And at that point, once you're able to raise rent, you're able to increase the valuation of your property. So we kept on increasing that value, and we were like really happy with getting into the business, really deep diving. And in 2017, they came to us and everybody wanted to buy the type of buildings that we had, but we were saying, no, we're long-term holders, we're not going to sell. At the end of the day, we decided that we were going to move up and scale into different types of apartment buildings. And we sold those 330 units and profited $18 million within 6 years of holding that portfolio. So that's what cash flow is able to do when you are invested into a property, that you're able to move up the valuation on a yearly basis just by increasing rents. So multifamily for us is where we love to invest. That's where all of our capital goes, is to cash flow properties. This is when me and Bobby first met. I was pregnant with my daughter there. I was 19 years old and Bobby was 23. And this is today. That was probably about a year ago in Africa when we went. If cash is king, then cash flow is queen. That's one of my favorite sayings. I use it all the time because, you know, they love to call me the queen of real estate because I'm always involved in everything that has to do with our business with the real estate. So I'm here. I'm going to start with the 5 steps to real estate royalty. And this is how we created our $450 million portfolio today. We have 5 steps that we always take before doing any kind of investment. My number 1 is core value. Core value is essential for getting ready to invest in real estate. This is just like living your own life. You always have to have core values, because if you don't have a core value, you just don't know where you're going to take the next step, or what kind of properties do you want, what do you want out of your investment. My number 1 core value is always that I take a look at what property size do I want. My second one is location. Locations vary from A through D. The other one is asset class. We always look at what type of asset class do we want. Properties that we own right now. Number 1 is an example of an A class. This is in El Paso, Texas. We just purchased this in April. It's a great asset. It's 400 units, and it is one of our best properties on cash flow right now. It's our cash cow is what we call that property. Property 2, this property is a perfect example of what a B class property is. It's 2 stories, garden style, has a pool, has a little park. Property 3, this is a perfect example of a C class property. This is where the government help you pay the rent. This is one of our first properties that we ever invested in. And property 4 is an example of a D class property. See, it has no amenities. It is just straightforward. You have your apartment and in and out you go. Short-term or long-term hold, because it's a property that you're going to put a lot of money in. This is where you're going to see a good large ROI. A long-term is more for building wealth. This is where you're going to hold a property for cash flow, for it to increase in value throughout the years. The tax benefit on a property like this is huge. You're able to, really take advantage of a lot of taxes. An A+ team for your resources. This is also a very, very important part, because these resources are the ones that are going to be able to take your multifamily portfolio from one level to the next. You really need to network with these people. They're not your employees, they're your partners. And these are your CPAs. The other one is your real estate broker. This one's another person that's going to be one of your best friends. If you get realtors that understand your core value, that they know what type of asset properties and locations you are looking for, they're going to bring you deals that are off market. They're going to bring you deals that they know exactly are going to fit your core value. You're not going to waste your day, your time. Underwriting a deal takes time. And if you're underwriting a deal that doesn't meet your core value, you're just wasting time.